Okay.
We're here. There you are.
All right. What are we talking about tonight? I just wrote the title and I don't even remember. I gotta get better at this. I need a cheat sheet. I can't remember like you. My brain is not like yours.
Remember nothing.
But your brain is so much better at this. Okay. What are we talking about? Are we too big for our own good? And how to scale small businesses.
That's the title?
Yeah, something along those lines. I don't know. I thought of like so many different examples about this. So, guys, we are a small business, what we would kind of consider a micro business.
We wouldn't consider us a micro business. Apparently, that's a word.
Yeah.
Because when you say small business, what we thought was small business was us.
But that's up to 100 employees.
Yeah. Anything less than 100 people is a small business. I think anybody who's got 100 people is a big business.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously not Amazon, Nike, Coke, who's got thousands and thousands, but I think 100 people is a lot of people. I think
so, yeah.
Right now it's Gail and I and the kids every once in a while.
Yeah. When they're feeling generous, yeah.
That's it. So that's a small business. But apparently there's another phrase called micro small business.
Yeah.
Which is like jumbo shrimp.
I think what I kind of wanted to get at tonight, you're funny, jumbo shrimp, is just we've actually heard people comment, maybe not in the past week or so, but previously, oh, we don't want to bother you, or we've kind of gotten the impression that we're too big. So that's kind of the question is, I guess, just like a general discussion tonight. Like, people love to buy local, support local, and buy from small businesses. But when you are a small business and you do things to try and make your business look respectable and we have everything together and professional, when you do all the things, it kind of gives off the impression, well, oh, you guys, you've arrived, you don't need us, small time people or whatever, buying at a farmer's market or whatever. But that couldn't be any farther from the truth.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what I just wanted to get out there tonight, is that we have not arrived, people. We still need your support and your help and your love, all of that kind of stuff. So.
And it's not all of the stuff that you see is mainly Gail's work. I might throw ideas at her, but everything that you see is Gail building a website. We didn't call someone to say build a website for us. We don't have $30,000 to go, here you go, build us a website, start networking for us and doing.
Yeah.
And we did actually try that, and we can't afford that.
Yeah.
That's
hiring people out of our realm right now.
We did actually try and thought we'd arrived and went, oh, let's try that. But then we started to watch the money go, the scales go like this. We're spending more than we're bringing in, going, all right, wait a minute, we need to still be doing stuff ourselves.
Yeah, it's a little bit backward. And I saw an article the other day I told you about in my email from LinkedIn that, and I don't even get LinkedIn's articles. It's basically just a headline and then other people's comments as they react to it. So it wasn't really useful information. But it was basically saying that AI is ushering in the era of the solopreneur. And I think, even though we're not solo, it really represents a lot of what we do, because my gosh, you do everything production-wise in the grow room and stuff on your own.
A fly right now.
Luke hates flies, people, the bane of his existence. But for me, so much of what I do would take a lot of people, but honestly, AI has made it a lot simpler, faster.
It has, but you still devote a lot of time. Your whole day is, every day that you work is devoted to building something on the site, something to automate, something to make life easier, something to get us in touch with people
so
easier.
Complex. Yeah, there's so many different parts to business, guys. The email newsletter and the just maintaining a mailing list. We have hundreds and hundreds of contacts, but some of them are from years ago and they haven't ordered in forever. Maybe they don't even know who we are anymore. Maybe people wonder, are you guys still even in business? And it's oh my gosh, we are doing everything we possibly can to update the website and to keep up with newsletters and to be out there. And it's just, I don't know, we were just talking about social, other than YouTube, is kind of a search engine type thing, but Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that, people don't really go there to search for stuff. If they have a question, they type into Google, a YouTube video might come up, but they're not going to Facebook to search for something specific. How do you use microgreens? So it's why are we focusing? Why did we ever focus on putting content there? Because it's just, there for a couple of days and then it's gone and like to
And if
some
the
black
if the
hole.
algorithm doesn't grab the right way, we could have posted something, and I'm sure everybody else can attest to this. When you look at Facebook, I'll look at stuff that'll be like from 5 days ago, from somebody that
Yeah, I don't even know because I'm not on it.
I
But
followed or I looked, and I'm like, oh, that's really cool. And it's like, it was 5 days old.
yeah,
It's like getting the news. It's like getting the newspaper. It's already
you're
news.
already
It already
outdated.
happened.
Yeah.
So, the same thing with us. Unless somebody's really active on our page, they're not going to see it.
Yeah.
It's not, unless you pay for advertising.
So it's kind of like when you do that stuff, you're just creating more work for yourself, because if we're already putting effort into a newsletter and the website and personal customer interactions and stuff, then having a bunch of social accounts is like, it's just more work. And for what? Like, it didn't get us anywhere. We got a lot of followers, but it didn't really translate into orders.
Yeah, and that's not always, we talk about it too. It's about relationships. So it's not always about the orders. We do have conversations with people that have even said, oh, well, I buy my microgreens here, or I grow my own.
Yeah.
And again, so it's not always about the sales, but if we're putting in an investment somewhere like that, that's countless amounts of time that we could be devoting to talking to more customers, to doing more
with
stuff.
The actual relationships.
Yeah, that's the point. So it's not about, oh, well, we don't want to do Facebook because we're not making any money off of it.
It's more like, we don't have to do Facebook because we have your phone number. If you're on our text list or you're on our email list, we know how to get in touch with you.
I'd rather have a discussion with somebody individually, or in groups wise, or people that follow us when we do this, or follow us when we put up a live, if we're at a pop-up or something. That's the connection. Having it, but the spending the time and not seeing the return on it wasn't advantageous, to us.
And it stinks that I almost feel like by trying to have a nice website and trying to do blog posts and stuff like that, I almost feel like what I've focused on has like pushed people away, and that's like so disheartening, because it's like when we hear a comment like, oh, we don't want to bother you. Guys, we want you to bother us. Like, please bother us 4 in the morning. We don't care.
We've had it. We've had messages come in. We had somebody just last week. My phone went off. I didn't have it. Usually I have it on silent. Gail always has hers on silent, but it was 4 o'clock in the morning and the phone went off. And I looked at it, and it was somebody that wanted an order, and we couldn't do it. So obviously we didn't. I guess we could have messaged them right back, but we didn't.
Yeah.
That's another thing. Even though we get these messages, I'm a yes person. So for me, I would answer them right back. But I think we also have to keep within reality of business hours and do things, because you have to have a life, and that's one thing.
We want to connect, but we can't be like connected all the time.
One of the things about doing your own business, especially from home like we are, is it's always there.
It's hard to turn off.
It's kind of a good and a bad thing. One of the things I tell people about, this will kind of tie in together, is the best part about being married is when you come home, someone's always there. The worst part about being married is when you come home, someone's always there. It's the same thing with doing your own business from home. The best part is you're at home, your own business. The worst part is you're at home, your own business.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
You can never leave it, you never separate it. So we need to do that break in the time. Gail and I, we work together, we live together, we're married. We have our separation time of, I'm going to veg and watch a movie, or I'm going to go do yard work, or I'm going to go here, or I'm going to sit and do this. You need that space. That's healthy, and it's the same thing with work. When people leave their jobs, they go home. They don't bring their job with them. When I manage people, I always said, don't bring your home to work. It's the same thing. Don't bring your work home. And, it's a hard thing for us to break. So, we love talking to people. We love getting in touch. Today, we sent messages out to people and said, hey, don't forget about your order. That was early in the morning. It's starting to get later on in the day. It's like, hey, we haven't heard from you. Just letting you know things are selling out. We like to interact. We like to do that, and
that's
make sure
the most fun part of the job. Like, I'm kind of envious when you get to go out on Fridays and like actually talk to people.
You can go any Friday you want. Friday's coming up. You want it, you can go.
Want to write a blog post for me?
I'll do it.
I'd love to see that blog
post. Be the best blog post anybody has ever seen. As long as I don't get through plagiarism of AI, you all will love it. There'll be no editing, just like YouTube videos. There'll be no editing.
Yeah.
We've had customers that we were selling to for a while, and then they told us that they didn't want it's not they didn't want to buy from us, but they knew someone else that had just started doing microgreens, and they said, we want to give the little guy, some help. And it was like, that was kind of really
It's
hit
hard
home
to
for us.
imagine people could be smaller than we are.
Yeah, and it's
I
like,
think
little
that's
guy,
like,
we're little. I mean,
yeah,
we've seen microgreen farms that are acres and acres
indoors, but
indoors. I mean,
still,
obviously, more square feet, I guess you
yeah,
should say, in square feet that are huge. We're nowhere near that. We operate in less than 400 square feet,
yeah,
and we do a lot in that. But when you say, "Oh, well, we're going to give the business to a little guy," it's like, well, jeepers.
yeah. We're a little guy.
we're little, and
Yeah,
then we have people that say, "Oh, well, we're all about local, we're all about buying this, buying local," and then you see them, and their local is, for lack of better terms, let's say,
their Cisco driver.
say Domino's, and it's like, okay, just because the Domino's franchise in the area is owned by a local person doesn't really make it local. I mean, I guess in a way it does, but again, the whole small business is anything under 100 people, but it gets so much smaller.
Yeah,
And I think that gets lost on people. They start to say, oh, well, we're gonna support the economy, support the local, and it's like, yeah, at what level?
yeah,
There are different levels to that. So when somebody says that, it's like, well, what are you really supporting?
yeah,
And I totally agree with that. Like people, I don't want anybody to ban Domino's, because I know the person that locally owns some franchises of Domino's, and he's a great guy, and he employs a lot of local people.
yeah,
And the same thing with any other franchise that may be in the area. Maybe a big conglomerate worldwide or nationwide, but they employ people locally. So that's still a support of local. But then there's another part of local.
yeah,
And I think that, what do they call it? A market share. There's market shares in so many different areas, whether it be a grocery store, a restaurant, farmers markets. We've had people that have been like that. We talk to people at farmers markets, and when farmers markets are over, we'll say, oh, we do home deliveries, so if you want anything, just let us know. And they'll be like, no, we just like going to market.
yeah. They couldn't care less
They
about.
don't even want to buy the microgreens,
Yeah,
or maybe they do, but it's like either an impulse buy, or it's what they do at the market. They get up in
yeah,
the morning, get a coffee, walk around market, and there's nothing wrong with that. Gail and I did it the other day. We went for a drive, and there was a market. We walked around the whole market. We didn't buy a single thing,
yeah.
but we looked at everything. We
Just kind of
saw
window
stuff,
shopping. Yeah,
and there's nothing wrong with it. It was just kind of to see what's there and what's going on. And so there's different levels to local, but we are, I don't know, lack of better terms, the bottom.
yeah. I definitely feel like we're the bottom, but there's so much opportunity for us to potentially grow and benefit other people, just like you're saying about the guy that owns Domino's. Like, if we could potentially hire people
We'd be
instead
hiring
of,
local people.
yeah, I mean, like when I saw the headline from LinkedIn about AI or ushering in the era of the solopreneur, I totally get it, and I love it, because it helps us to save money and accomplish things that maybe we could hire somebody for. But at the same time, AI helps you do simple things like that so quickly that you don't really need to hire somebody full time, like on a staff. But there are a lot of things that we do that there's no way AI could do it. AI can't water the crops or like check, certain. AI is not going to harvest. You know what I mean?
Not at our level. Yeah, I mean, there's
Yeah.
definitely big automated places that do that stuff. But again,
But for us, we're not there yet.
those are also the places that get flagged for recalls and all kinds of things.
Yeah.
Because
So I feel like there's so much opportunity for us to grow, and I hate to potentially lose opportunity because people think, oh, they're like done growing. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like,
And
I
I
don't
think-
see it that way. I think we are like just on the cusp. It's year 3. Everybody talks about, years 3 and 5 in business are where you should like really, know if it's going to work out, know if whatever. But I feel like we are right on the cusp of really being able to be like something that stands in our local community, and that we can benefit other people and give back and hire people and whatever. But that's not going to happen if people think, oh, we've already made it and we don't need their support. That's absolutely not the case. I don't know, I looked at it from like a different perspective today, because I was focused on a lot of like customer retention stuff and things like that, and it just kind of makes you go back and think, are we doing something wrong? Like, are we putting people off somehow? And I don't think so. But I do think at the same time that, when somebody goes to our website and there is a YouTube channel and there is a blog and there is FAQs and, 20 different products, they may look at it and think, boy, they're not that small.
Yeah.
But guys, we are small. And we still need the support of people who want to buy local and buy small.
Yeah.
So,
and it's not that we want to be big, but we want to stay small.
yeah. It's a hard balancing act.
It is. And with that being said, we also, with everything that we do, we want to stay small and be connected to the community at all time. We even said that if we ever got big, we wouldn't want to get big outside of our area. If anything, we would educate another microgreen grower X amount away from us, and have them take the next step. Like maybe we drive this far. Maybe we have a 50-mile radius, we drive an hour or something.
Yeah.
And then anything beyond that is like, all right, where's there another farm that we can educate and we can grow them so that they can have a business, locally, and that they can move and that they can grow. So we want to become bigger, and there's still lots of market share out there, but it needs to be, on a scalability where people understand that, where they don't look at it and go, I mean, we ship all over the country. We've shipped, we're on the East Coast. We've shipped all the way from New York to California. That doesn't make us huge.
Yeah.
FedEx does the work.
Yeah.
We drop it off. It goes. It doesn't mean that, oh my gosh, they're huge. They ship to California. Listen, there's tons of microgreens in California. We know, we've seen them. We've researched places to find out, who they are and stuff.
I think we've kind of come to a tipping point too, where after 3 years of doing what we're doing, it's really easy to look back and see where we've messed up or where we've thought, oh, maybe that's the golden ticket, and it's not it. And one of the areas where we've learned that's not it is trying to get in with like these huge conglomerates like grocery stores and things like that. And it's okay, some of the classes or whatever that we've signed up for with the people that we learn the business side of things from, get into a distributor, get into a grocery store chain. And guys, we've tried and it's not happened. And the reason it hasn't happened is just because the leap to go from where we are to where they would need us to be is so great.
Huge.
There's no way we could do it. We would have to give up so much of ourselves and what we're doing. It's just not possible. Like we kind of touched on this on one of the last episodes, like the cost for insurance for some places and just the requirements of like margin, we wouldn't have any profit left. And it's like we kind of had it in our minds. Maybe I'm speaking for you. Feel free to cut me off. I don't want to speak for you. But we kind of had it in our minds like, okay, maybe, to go to sell like to individual people at a farmer's market. Maybe the next step up is to sell to a bunch of restaurants. Maybe the next step up is to get into a grocery store. But what we're finding is it's the people that really hold us together. And one of our farmer friends told us during COVID, when all the restaurants were shut down, it was the people that kept their head above water. And it's kind of the same way for us now. We're realizing that maybe we're chasing after the wrong thing, and it is the people, you know what I mean? And it's not that that's a negative. It's just that maybe we don't want to operate in the other system. You know what I mean?
Also, there's a diagram, and maybe somebody has seen it, but it's a picture of basically a farm field and then the end of where you're buying it. So say it's a grocery store. Here's the farm field. It goes on a truck. It goes to this warehouse. It gets on that truck. It goes from there to here. Then it gets separated. So what's it called? The chain, something chain,
like the logistics chain.
Whatever. So there's the diagram, and then it ends up at the grocery store. Days have passed. Several hands have touched it, and every one of those people needs to get paid along the way. If you look at it where here's the farm, and the farmer drives it right to the store, done deal.
Yeah, or right to the customer.
Or right to the customer, or right to the farmer's market. And, so it's basically like you buying it right from the farm. That's a shorter distance, and less people have touched it, which means less of the profit gets taken away, and sent out to different people. It's just, and it almost goes into the point of paying cash for something. If you pay cash, if you hand us a $20 bill to pay for everything, that $20 stays with us. And then we either buy something, locally, or we shop, so we're going to spend it because maybe it's part of the profit for us. You use a credit card. Well, now
right off the top, you're losing 2 or 3% to the payment
the
processor.
$20 isn't $20 anymore. By the time it gets broken down, the $20 is gone. And the banks made the money. And so again, the bigger people are making it. Same thing along the way of the travel from the farm to the grocery store. All these people are making money along the way. So it's getting lost in the distribution. We found that we go right to the distributors. We deliver right to our vendors, our grocery stores that we sell.
We basically we've pretty much set up a distribution network because we do deliveries. It seems like a lot of people that handle the microgreens may not necessarily do the deliveries, or whatever, it goes to a large distributor. But when you have a product that only lasts a week to 2 weeks.
We say 7 to 10 days just to be comfortable, because we like it to be as fresh as possible.
Yeah.
But we know from customer feedback from everybody that has said it's lasted well over that.
Yeah, and especially if it's coming from like California. I'm not talking about local competition. We have no problem with that. We enjoy it, and it kind of develops like different imaginative things where maybe we're going one direction and another local microgreens business is going another. That's awesome. We invite that because it just gives us new ideas. I'm talking about like a microgreens farm from California or something like that. It's days on a truck. And I think the thing that changed all that, and maybe it's just a total new era with, instead of going to the grocery store to buy food, I think you talk about it all the time, the local mom and pop shops are coming back. The farm stands, people want raw milk or fresh vegetables not sprayed with pesticides, and
want the relationship, just like we're building with people. You want to know what, where, how, all of that, and be able to actually look at it, look at the farm, look at the people that are touching your stuff, know that.
Yeah.
Gosh, there was another thing, there was another recall the other day. Chipotle had to pull all their jalapeno peppers because of salmonella.
Oh.
There were several people that got sick. Salmonella is not a joke. You really get sick with that. And if you're already compromised, you can definitely have a serious issue.
Yeah.
But here's a franchise that pulled every one of them because they had, they can pinpoint, even when I went for our training for, they call it FSMA, farm safety. And they tell you, they can find out from that little microbe of salmonella, trace it to what country it came from.
It's got DNA.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's traceable, like a fingerprint or whatever.
And once they find that farm, that's it. But again, so your farmer, where you're buying it from. You don't have to, watch the news or read the newspaper and go, oh, salmonella, throw away the jalapenos. And you're like, no, I got them from Buddy down the corner. I know where they're from.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's that's why, from my opinion, I've put in so much effort to our website, is because our website is how we connect. If somebody's out there Googling, where do I buy microgreens or where do I get microgreens locally, we want to come up. So I focus a lot on putting content on our website and updating it and things like that.
So that people don't have to feel the bother. Like Gail was saying, oh, I don't want to bother you. Well, you don't have to bother us. Most of the answers are right there.
Yeah, right on the website.
And then if you don't get the answer, bother us.
But I think decades ago, years ago, that wasn't really the case. It's not like you were looking up direct places to go for food products. It was, you go to the grocery store, you get what you get, and you don't get upset. But I think it's like a whole new era now where people are really interested in direct sales locally with farmers and things like that. So,
and shelf life, as Gail was saying before, is huge, because one of the things that we step back from in trying to say, oh, we're going to get in the grocery stores, we found out that if we had given our product to the distributor, it would be 3 to 4 days before it even get to the grocery store.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And we were even talking about getting it right to their warehouse. Like we would deliver it, we would harvest and take it right there, and it would still sit in that warehouse.
And mostly just to be inspected and make sure it's
and then find out where the deliveries go. And that's totally understandable, because as you get bigger, more money, more problems. There's stuff that they all have to check and that they've got to be aware of. So it's safety and insurance, and that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but we are not in that game. We thought we wanted to be, but
the more we learn about it, though, it's like, and it's not because we're not willing to comply with like all of the safety requirements. I mean, guys,
we go above and beyond.
We have a food safety plan that is top notch, maybe if I say so myself. But that's what we operate by, but that doesn't dictate who we sell to. We found out most of you guys don't care. We've never had one person ask us, oh, let me see your food safety plan.
Yeah.
That's not what matters. It goes back to, like Luke said, the
Relationship.
relationship. But it's just that, I just want people to know that we're trying to do our absolute best. And I don't want people to be scared away from thinking, oh boy, I don't want to place a
Yeah.
small order or
That
whatever. You know what I
website
mean?
looks huge. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't want to just order one thing from them. What are they gonna, do about that?
Yeah, exactly.
One more customer, one more relationship, one more building block into a story. We
Yeah.
just had, talking about. I did a live video the other day about wheatgrass, and you guys can look at that. I did it as a little YouTube short, and I think it's on our Facebook. I did a live, but had a discussion because I went to a customer and gave them a live wheatgrass that we sell as a thank you for being a great customer. And they right away said, "Oh, well, I can't have it, because I have celiac." And it was like, "All right, I'm not a doctor, but I'm going to educate you on what I've heard from other people that we've been in contact with." And she was like, "Oh, I didn't know that." And it was like, "Listen, do your research, talk to your own physician, however you need to. Don't just go off of my words, but I'm telling you from the testimonies of the people that I've heard from." So that goes for everybody. We just had one this morning where a person had hit us up and said, "Hey, she's been buying our microgreens for well over a year now.
Years, yeah, I think
And
multiple years.
she said that she just added a new product on, and she was hesitant because she has a lot of health complications, but actually said her specialist that she goes to be tested to make sure that everything's okay said, whatever you're doing, it seems to be doing good. So can I have more of that?" That's great. That's the relationship. And then I can take that story to somebody else who goes, "Oh, I have this problem and I don't know if I can do it." I'd be like, "All right, again, I'm not a doctor, but I do have a customer that has had this and thinks that it's great and it works for them." Everyone's different. We always say talk to your own physician or do your own due diligence on research. But that's the relationship.
And I think that's the kind of beneficial info that I need to turn into like posts on the website so that people who are looking for information
get that information.
Kind of
when you Google it, and not only did you Google it and get the information, but you found the people that you can buy it from too.
Yeah, exactly.
It's right there. You're not going to get that at your local grocery store. I mean, maybe your little mom and pop grocery store, they know we're there, but not your big, your big box store. You're not going to walk in there and be like, "Oh, well, is this good for celiac?" You're going to be like, "What is celiac?"
Yeah.
And that's not a dig on anybody, but they're not geared for that. That's not what they're for. That's why getting to know, your relationship. I think that's coming back in so many different ways in communities. I was out with one of our boys the other day, and he said something about malls and that they're kind of falling apart. And I'm like, actually, they're on the rise because people are realizing about relationship and about tangibly touching something or knowing the person,
trying on a pair of shoes.
Rather than ordering it and coming and going, "I hate these. Now I got to send them back. So now I've got to do another thing." Whereas if you go out, what was a perfect example? Oh, I was going to say, we went, our son, we went out the other day and we went to an aquarium. An aquarium was inside the mall. So after we were done with the aquarium, we had a snack of something to eat. Then he needed some clothes for work. So we went and we shopped for that. So one little trip that invited you to one person got to know another person, spread it all around locally. And I think it happens the same way in farmers markets and relationships that we build. I'll get into conversations with people, or even whether it's a person, just an individual, or it's a restaurant, and they bring something up in conversation and go, "I know a mushroom person.
Yeah.
I have a person that we can get. We know somebody that, has cattle and they do fresh, they have their meat and they cut it, eggs, whatever it is." So we know a lot of people within the industry. So once those conversations happen, they're like, "Oh, I didn't know that person was local. Great. We can point you in the right direction." So again, you're not going to get that at a big box store. They're not going to be like, "Oh, you like that? Well, here, I know this guy." No, they're going to say aisle, whatever, and good luck find it.
So in the title of this video, I use the word scale. What do you think? How do you keep the relationship as we grow? Like, the reason that I'm focusing on automations for like text reminders and mailing lists, stuff like that, is because at some point, and we've already reached it in the past, it's just too much to like do everything by hand. So how do we grow our business and still maintain the relationships?
I think you don't forget where you came from, and that goes for anybody. I mean, there are so many stories of so many different people and people know, everybody knows different celebrities. You see them in the news, but you can pick and see. Should not pick. You can watch and see which one came from nothing and forgot everybody at the bottom and went to the top. Then you can also see the ones that went to the top and remembered everybody from the bottom.
Mhm.
You know, we have
That's like you when you talk about wanting to do like a picnic here for
for our
our
customers and
customers
have
and
the
just
chefs
have them
and
over and yeah.
there's an individual that one of our restaurant owners, he says all the time, he's like, I don't just want like a motorcycle for me. He goes, I want to be able to have a motorcycle for me and all my friends so that we could all have fun together.
Yeah.
It's the same concept. We don't want to just do this for us. We want to do it for everybody and get everybody involved and get the relationship to tie this place to this place, to this place, to this place. When I was in the restaurant business and, a health inspector came around, you'd get the phone call from the restaurant down the road going, hey,
supposed to out everybody.
everybody knows that. The health inspector knows that. You have the relationship. You're like, hey, guess who's in town? It's the same thing as when people, you ever see a motorcycle guy go like this, telling you that there's a cop down there or somebody's flashing your lights. We're all in this together, folks. Okay. Help each other out.
You're funny.
It's how things work in community and relationships.
I think that's what you just said. How can we help each other out? I think that's what I'm excited for. Like for every once in a while, we talk about what is success. I think right now in my mind, that is what I would view as success, is being able to help other people.
Yeah, I don't want to scale. I don't want to scale huge. As I said, we don't want to be this huge place up and down the East Coast. Look at us, it's like, no, I want to be able to deliver. And I would love
to like partner with our businesses too. Okay, so just go back to what I said a little bit ago. Facebook, Instagram, it takes so much effort. It's ridiculous. But one thing I would really like to do, maybe if it's only on YouTube, whatever, but feature our customers, the restaurants, business, and we even have some individual customers who are really talented in the kitchen and come up with some amazing stuff. I would love to showcase their stuff, but then I kind of walk the line of like, do we need their permission? If they say yes now, do we need their permission like all the time? Like, is it okay to do that? Because we don't want to name drop, and some people don't. Some people tag us in their posts, which is great, but then some people don't, and it's like, okay, so do we have to like have two categories of people?
And then you get the same thing too, where it's like, all right, you love our product, everything's great, and then you see that, oh well, we sell to this restaurant, and you're like, oh, I don't like those people.
Or we sell to a restaurant and then we see other people saying that they're selling to it, even though they haven't for quite a while or whatever. It's like a game or whatever. But I just like the idea of being able to collab. Like when we first started, go all the way back to the beginning, and I don't know if it was all the way in the beginning. It was we were really young as a business when we did the chef mixes, and it was great. And somebody just actually got in touch with us to ask if we still do to recommend somebody, which was awesome. It was cool to see that they remembered, but it was like, I don't know. We just didn't have a big enough audience at that point, and we still don't have a massive audience. But
there was a lot of waste in that. I think if we did it again, we would do it in a different way. But actually, we do it in a different way. We take a portion of our proceeds from all of the stuff that we make, rather than just the chef mix, and we donate to a local Christian camp that's in the area. Yeah. And again, it's kind of like one of those. It's not that we're offended by saying who it is or whatever, but it's, in the Bible it says, don't let the left hand know what the right hand's doing. It's all about giving. Like it's in secret. It's not to keep it a secret. It's to not be boastful about it.
I would just like to be able to focus more on the relationships that we have with people, because I think of all things to showcase, like people are looking for ideas and recipes, and I just struggle with, like how do we give them content that's valuable? I think showing where they could go to try our stuff out or get ideas for their own recipes and things like that.
We've done lots of recipes, in the past, but at the same time,
we don't seem to have a really good track record of getting them online though.
Do you really want to hear from us though? It's like, oh, well, it's your stuff. You're making it look that good. You're doing it that way. We'd like to show you what everybody else is doing with it, so that that's not just us, and then it's not just restaurants. Maybe it's a restaurant, maybe it's a catering place, maybe it's a diner, maybe it's a bar. Maybe they're using the flowers for something. So you don't know what they're doing, and then maybe it's an individual that's doing something in their home. Yeah, we got all kinds of customers.
What else you got? Anything?
Running thin. I'm pulling from thin air here now.
Are you? Grasping. You just want to get away from the flies.
I don't like flies.
Me neither. They're getting me. All right. I think I just wanted to get that out there and say We're not too big, guys.
And I don't think we ever will be, because again, that's not our mindset.
I was just going to say, yeah,
I
I think
don't
it's a
like
mindset thing.
when I talked about, if we had something that was bigger, I would like to be not so much bigger as in distance and how we reach, but fuller as in bigger. So if we have a 50-mile radius, get everybody within that radius.
Or I like the idea of, like, with the chocolates and things like that, of hiring a ton of people and having a bunch of workers here being able to support our local economy like that and shipping stuff nationwide.
Yeah, doing something like that. But I mean, the whole, I enjoy as much as it's a long day and it's a lot. We deliver 2 days a week. It's a lot. I'm gone for a lot of hours. Sometimes, driving for 10, 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
It's a lot. But I enjoy it because I get to connect with all the customers and get the feedback and build the relationship. I don't ever want to lose that.
Yeah.
I don't ever want, if anything, I would still go out and do the deliveries, and somebody could stay here and wash dishes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like if we were going to hire somebody.
Wash the trays.
It's not that I don't like doing that stuff. It's nice alone time. I put my music on. I listen to, I do that stuff too.
Jam out.
But at the same time, stuff can be devoted, that time can be devoted in different areas, and we can employ someone, locally and give them a job. So yeah, I don't think we ever want to get so big for our britches that we don't know what,
where we came from.
Yeah.
On this front porch, guys, this is where we came from.
That's it. And we're staying here.
This was our first official grow room, believe it or not. So.
Well, no. Well, we had a greenhouse. You can look back on our Facebook.
Yeah.
Took pictures of that. The snow caved that in.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was next.
This was one of the
areas.
A place that we started, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys, if you want to bother us, backmountainmicrogreens.com.
If you have any questions for us, about this episode, any other episodes, about our microgreens, our flowers, our chocolate, we're all ears to have discussion, whether you're buying from us or not. Yeah. Maybe you're not even near us. YouTube's all over the world. So you can, if you're somewhere else and you got a question, hit us up. We can probably put you in touch with somebody that if we don't have the answer, they might, or we can point you in the right direction, or at least maybe give you information on what it is that you're looking for, and then you can search it out closer to yourself.
Yeah, I like that. So, all right, guys.
Thanks for watching.
That's it. See ya.
See you next time.